Matthew 12:36. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? When talking about the 10 Commandments, most of the Christians I know will quickly separate them into two sections. The first 4 dealing with our relationship with God, and the last 6 our relationship with one another. Now this is true, for Jesus himself makes this distinction when asked the question as to what commandment was the greatest in all the law, stating the first was to love God with all our heart, mind, and soul, while the second was to love our neighbors as ourselves. Still, I wonder if in our daily interactions with one another, this concept causes us to not fully realize our duty to God in dealing with each other, especially considering our struggles with sin and self. You see, when looking at David's prayer of repentance in Psalm 51, after Nathan had come to him regarding the adultery and murder he had committed, verse 4 reveals how David considered his sin to be against God and him only. Yes, I know David knew he had wronged both Uriah and Bathsheba, yet nowhere in this psalm does he mention their names, and I think this is because David understood something very significant about the process of being cleansed from sin. Namely, only God can create in us a clean heart. David understood it was only because of the 10 Commandment law of God that sin was even ascribed to his actions. Since it was God's laws which were violated, God was rightly in the position to judge the actions against his broken commands. David was a criminal against divine law, and only divine justice could be meted out. Therefore, only God's everlasting love could provide the mediation necessary to restore David to a place of righteousness before God's throne. How differently then would we deal with one another if we would keep in our minds the fact that when we break the 10 Commandments, it is against God and Him only that we are sinning. Father, may I always keep your commandments with all my heart, mind, and soul.